Hey, how's it going, friends? I'm Darkoburi the Collector, and today we're going to have this mega incredible unboxing. For this week's unboxing, I feel like that meme of the little girl leaning over the counter, putting down her coins, and saying, "One mega unboxing, please." So I'm bringing you this mega unboxing from Pure Arts to welcome it to the channel. We haven't talked about this company yet, but honestly, they make some truly amazing pieces, and just check out the size of this box. It also comes with warnings that the contents weigh over 35 pounds, so be careful. We're talking about roughly 15 to 17 kilos, just so you have an idea of how much our piece is going to weigh. Just look at the length of the box for the piece we're about to unbox, and right there it tells you it's an Animus Eivor. If you know and recognize this character's name, you'll remember that we've already done an unboxing of Eivor from Assassin's Creed here on our channel, but this time it's the Animus edition, and it's a collector's piece. Check this out, only 2,500 pieces were produced by our friends at Pure Arts Studios, and the one we have here, if I'm not mistaken, is number 217. Stick with us because something amazing is coming up. And now I'm going to show off the size and quality of the box we got from our friends at Pure Arts Studio, which honestly is flawless. It just has our Assassin's logo from Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which is a Viking story where, like I mentioned, you could choose either to be male, female, or have your Viking's gender change based on your decisions. If you look here, it's two Viking axes, just their silhouettes forming the Assassin's logo. If you remember, from Altair, Ezio Auditore, all the way to Eivor, it's been a brotherhood dedicated to fighting the Templars for the good of humanity. And the Animus part, if you look over there, that's the fragmented section. Why? Because it's based on memories. If you've played the entire Assassin's Creed series, you remember there are new people or people in the present day who use the Animus to access their memories and try to relive what their ancestors experienced through their DNA. Why? Because through DNA, they can see all the memories, experiences, and lives of each of the assassins, especially as they search for the most important piece, which was the Apple of Eden. Let's turn the box around, which is actually pretty heavy. Here it just has the instructions. It's a collectible item for ages 14 and up. Obviously, it comes with our logo or certificate of authenticity through this hologram. And let's remember that these games are courtesy of Ubisoft. Once we take out the piece, this is how it's protected. It comes in another styrofoam box. Just check out the straps that keep everything secure so nothing moves inside. And what impressed me the most is the Pure Arts logo that's marked right here. They've paid attention to every single detail, and that's what I like the most. We've come across pieces, you've seen it on Darkoburi's channel, where the straps don't have anything on them. With the luxury pieces, though, they really go all out. They put the studio's name on them, and on this other side, I found this little folder, sheet, pamphlet, and I thought, what could this be? Honestly, I thought it was the certificate of authenticity, but it turns out it wasn't. I'm not going to show you the inside. Why not? Because it's an assembly guide, but it has all the spoilers for the figure. So instead, I'll just show off my Eivor back here, and from there, all that's left is to start taking out all the pieces to assemble Eivor from Assassin's Creed Valhalla. We started taking out all the pieces that came inside the second box, which was the styrofoam protection, and as always, it was divided into two levels. The first level had the parts for the base, the ones that make up the whole diorama for our figure, and honestly, just looking at it left me speechless. I don't even know where to start, everything is amazing. I was just looking at it and thought, wow, the folks at Pure Arts Studio really outdid themselves. But now, calmly, I'm going to walk you through, step by step, all the details you need to notice about our piece. Since it's so impressive, we'll analyze it little by little. What we do need to look at right away is the base. Let's take a look at it from this side. Let's check it out, like always, down here you'll find the full name of my piece, and as usual, the number that corresponds to our edition. Remember, these are limited edition pieces, only 2,500 made, and we got number 217. The first hyper-realistic detail on the base, check this out, is the snow. You might think it just looks kind of glazed over, but no, the truth is, it's really well painted. The details they add here, which are a mix between the Animus and the runes from the Viking side, are what make this piece truly special. Another really positive thing our friends at Pure Art Studio have done is that each of the slots where the pieces go already has a number, so you don't get lost as easily. And here's a spoiler. Why? What does it mean? It means that at some point, we'll be able to light something up on our base. So over here, let's also take a look at some other little details. Check this out. It's like there was some kind of fight and someone is bleeding. There are some red details here and there, while everything else is the green detail with the snow. Let's remember that these were the Nordic countries when they invaded England, and the northern part was very snowy. But everyone remembers that when you're playing the Assassin's Creed video game, when you try to leave an area that's not part of the map, you start to see this greenish color, these fragmented crystals that look like this, and that's what they call the Animus. That's why this edition is Eivor's Animus edition. And right now, we're going to look at both this totem here and Eivor's body. The second part we're going to analyze is the totem, let's call it, made of wood that's completely carved here, and check it out, it's the figure of a Viking with 2 beards. The special effects they add, like the snow you see on the top part, make this piece look spectacular. They add the Animus design on this other side, which, as I mentioned, is the green color that appears when you get close to areas that aren't recognized or have some interference in the Animus, and it starts to look crystallized and digital like this. Back here, check it out, it's just carved, but here they start combining some. Now let's take a look at the details along with the Nordic inscriptions. And we place it right here in this part. If you notice, this is where it fits in, but let me show you a really cool detail. This is where the battery compartment is, and when you remove it, it's magnetized. Why is that? So you don't damage your pieces. Most pieces require you to remove a screw, but here our buddies really outdid themselves. You just do this, and this whole part here is where the magnet is, and on this side is where you put the batteries. And now, just like a TV commercial, batteries not included. It's time to start assembling each of these little pieces, and honestly, I love the attention to detail. Here we need to do a close-up to see that number 1 is right here. Literally, number 1 is the one at the top, and that's where you find the number. You just grab your piece and, calmly and carefully, they fit together. Let's remember that these figures have been around for quite a while now, with all the pieces magnetized. Here on this side, even though you can't see it clearly, it says number 5. I just look for it, and down here, where number 5 goes, I insert the piece. Honestly, these details here on this part of the totem are totally, well, from the Animus, but if you notice, they wiggle. The thing is, I can separate them easily, but if you leave it assembled, it doesn't fall off. The next detail we're going to look at is right here, where we have our Viking shield. But a lot of people are going to say, it's broken. The truth is, it's not broken, it's actually a decorative part of our entire Assassin's Creed Valhalla piece. And what's amazing is, from the back here, as you can see right now, it has the handle where our warriors can grab it to use in battle, and it's the exact one that appears in the video game, the one with the Raven Clan symbol that our awesome Eivor belonged to. And if you look closely, it has all this snow detail, and down here at the bottom, there's nothing else. Here, it has other spots where a lot of snow has fallen, and that's because this piece goes on this side. Let's take a look at it. Why? Because if you notice, only the top part has snow on it, and the effect looks amazing. And let me remind you, it's not like the piece we did with Gara. You might remember we did that one here on the Darkoburi channel. The Gara piece from Samart actually had real sand. That's not the case here, it's just decorative, which is why there's no snow on this part. In the same way, the snow only appears here. The other thing we're going to analyze little by little is this piece, which we're going to place on the foot of our main character, right here. Let's see how it goes on. This is how each of the pieces comes, each with its own number, And here we just grab Eivor. Right now, if you notice, I'm not going to put it on because there's a piece missing, but honestly, it already looks spectacular for doing a review of what the bust is like. So let's get started right away. All this part here in the front, like I mentioned in the previous review we did of Eivor, is because they were in freezing cold, literally in the northern part of London, the northern part of England. So, they used wolf pelts and any other skins they could find to protect themselves from the cold. What's impressive here is that the whole Viking outfit has Nordic inscriptions or runes. Just check out all this part right here, even on the inside of the belt, it's completely covered with them. This is one of the pouches that, in the video game, is the ration pouch. When your health was low, you'd eat a ration, which was literally food, and that's exactly what you can see here. And over here, there's another pouch where he kept other things, like extra gear. Remember, you could also carry your bow and arrows, but there's nothing about that here. What's really impressive on the torso and body area are all these studs on his coat. Everything here looks sewn together, let's say, poorly sewn, because these were times way back in the past, when there wasn't any technology to make brand new shirts. And here you can see how all these patches are put together, like, this is the piece I have left over, this is the piece I have, so I'll just use it here. In the same way, if you look at these pants, check it out, even the texture is noticeable when we do a close-up on both parts of the pants, but it still has this look, like it's barely sewn together. Why is that? Because if they went into battle a lot, fights and all, obviously they got a lot of cuts and had to repair their clothes with whatever they had on hand. What always surprises me about the assassins, especially the Viking ones, are the boots. Here you can see the fur, so the cold doesn't get to the upper part of their legs. Here it's wrapped up so the boot doesn't slip off. And you can even see the detail they've taken care of at the snow on the tips of the shoes. They put a bit of snow on both tips. Why? Because obviously, if you're stepping on snow, it's going to stick and your shoes are going to get a little dirty. Check out how the hood looks super cool, because when you're on stealth missions, you put on the hood so you're not as visible, otherwise you get spotted and the fights start. And finally, here we see the button on the front, which is now a symbol that's totally from the Nordics. This part here that you can see, if you look closely, you can actually move it a little bit. If you force it a bit more, it'll break, but they paid attention to every detail of the clothing, the body, and obviously the figure itself. Let's do a close-up. A photo here of just the body so you can see it in detail on the Darkoburi channel. I've already taken out all the pieces from the second part of the box, which is the second level. Just check out everything that came in it. Honestly, I feel like a kid in a toy store, because there are so many pieces. This came in here. Why? Because you get 2 faces for your Eivor, and in a moment we'll see which one we choose. But the one you don't pick, you can literally put it here and it sticks magnetically. Honestly, look, check it out. It's a bit tricky. When it gets here, it snaps in and the piece stays completely attached. Honestly, I didn't know what this was for until just now when I was taking out each and every piece. And there's even another tiny one here. Why? Because, like I've told you, underneath the base where the number is, you also get the piece number here as well. And what's even more surprising, which we'll talk about in a moment, is this my certificate of authenticity. I'm about to show it off to you live and in full color. But here, like I said, each of these pieces has its number inside, which is how they'll fit into the base. If you look, there are quite a few. There are some good-sized pieces, and others that are a bit smaller. All of them have the number here. Here we can see it, and honestly, it's a beauty. But like I also mentioned, over here on this side I already had my cheat sheet ready, and our cheat sheet tells us exactly where each piece goes, in case you really can't read the number or figure it out. It's really simple, very practical, thanks to our friends. Why is that? Because honestly, it's just 1, 2, 3. That's how each and every one of them gets put together. The piece, or the crown jewel, is this one that came from this side. Just check out what massive piece this is, that's why our Eivor didn't fit together. Remember, the foot was floating, and that's why, on this side where the blood is, it fits or completes the blood that was already in the diorama. This is how it looks fully assembled, with the part that represents the Animus. If you look closely, it turned out absolutely stunning, and there were 3 branches or pieces of tree that were placed in that position. What for? If you notice, here we have some animal skulls, and if you check here, there's another one, here it is. And here we have the last one. The detail on each of the skulls is absolutely impressive. Check out the area where the eye socket is, the teeth, the nose, and right here the horns, which turned out absolutely spectacular. We got this piece, but it's complemented by a pair of additional horns, and on this side I'm going to show off how the piece turned out. Check out how each piece of the Animus is coming together, and how they add effects, like black shadows here and there, and this part where you can see the snow. All the snow falls on some parts and spreads out over the Animus. The Animus would expand once or twice when you got desynchronized, which happened when you died or when the main character, let's say, the descendant, in this case Eivor, was about to be disconnected. So it was like this blur effect would happen, things would start to disappear, and everything would begin to disintegrate. Why? Because they were removing all this part of the fiction from the past to bring you back to reality. Check out how the Animus appears in all these sections, and here you can see all the symbols. There was even a little arrow, and everything is marked with the Animus symbol. That's why the piece is Eivor's Animus, and they complement it really well. And now, this is how the skulls look once they're set up, and honestly, I was totally blown away. I'm going to show you what happened to me. Check this out. First of all, here the branch has a little bit of movement now, but it doesn't come off. If you look, it can wiggle, but it doesn't come off. Now let's see. Here when it's on, check it out. It slides by itself because of the magnet. Let's see it again. Come on. And now it stays in place. You can move it around. It doesn't stay completely fixed like in other pieces, but it doesn't fall off. Honestly, the magnet is really strong. And now, let's put Eivor on because we already have the helmet here that's been stepped on, and we're going to put it on properly. Now let's see how we put each part together, and there we have our warrior mounted. You apply a little bit of pressure, and now we can see why the foot is just a little bit off to the side. Of the few pieces we still need, obviously, are the arms, each of the faces, some accessories, and the hands. Right now, we're going to take a closer look at each one of them. First, here's the right arm. Check it out, even the textures on this part of the forearm, the bicep, the upper part of the arm, are visible. And what he had here was leather to protect himself from some attacks. Notice that this side is just a little bit stiffer, and right here at the wrist, there's a small red band. This part also suffers the effects of the Animus, which means it's a fight where Eivor has already won, there's a disconnection. Why? Because those memories of Eivor could have been lost. On this other side, I also want to show off the other arm. Likewise, you can really see the impressive quality in the texture on the upper part of the arm. But if you look closely, here you can see the same thing we saw down here, the same blue shirt, a little bit to protect him from the cold, and here, let's just say it, it's a bit more rough, what he's got on his arm. When the assassins approach Eivor, they tell him they're going to give him the blade and that they have to cut off his finger. If you remember, they had to, sacrifice their ring finger. For what? So that the hidden blade could come out. The hidden blade was going to hurt the finger anyway, so to avoid suffering from pain or getting cut every time it came out, they would cut it off. But he says, no, I'm going to wear it on top, and he's the first assassin to wear the hidden blade, Well, not hidden. But honestly, he didn't care. He went around killing left and right, and as you can see, even with a two-handed axe. And that's why our character, Eivor, carries his hidden blade here. Honestly, he liked to assassinate directly, head-on, fighting, and like a true Viking, a good warrior, he enjoyed jumping into massacres and coming out alive, unscathed, and honestly, all the way to the end, totally heroic. Awesome Eivor. Like I mentioned, at the beginning of the game, you can choose to be female Eivor, male Eivor, or let the decisions you make throughout the game change and determine your gender by the end of the game. I'm going to choose the male face for him. Check out how all his hair is braided. On this side, it's completely long, and here, if you notice, in their case, they have the raven painted on, because they were part of the Raven clan. Other than that, Eivor has a beard, and of course, here you can see the Viking braid he wears. In the same way, you can see the braid she has in the back. Eivor looks absolutely imposing, and the reason they painted their eyes black during battles, just like it's used in the military and in sports, is so the sunlight coming from the side doesn't affect your vision. So, that's the effect we have here with Eivor. In the video game, you can actually put tattoos on her face, back, arms, anywhere you want. There's a pretty wide selection, but honestly, it turned out amazing. As impressive as the certificate of authenticity, just look at it. It's the same face as our figure. Here you can see Eivor's name. Here is the name of the Pure Art Studio, and again they tell us that our piece is number 217, and they give us this little stand so we can display it, and now we can show off, just like that, our piece and our certificate. Now it's time to take a look at the weapons our warrior Eivor is carrying. Check out the blood effect they added to this part of the axe, the one he used to kill the warrior. And here's something interesting too. Take a look at the glove Eivor is wearing on his hand. It only covers these 2 fingers, obviously leaving these 3 fingers exposed. The question is, and you're going to tell me why does he only have this finger exposed here, while the rest are covered? Check out how the hand can move. That's another impressive detail. Obviously, here's the magnet so you can adjust it right here. This hand here is immobile. That's another detail to notice, because you use both hands together. Let's put one over here on this side. We'll put this other one on in a moment. Also, check out how different the axe is, with this turquoise green outline here, the gold details on the tip, and all these marks that look like battle scars. On both sides of the axe, there are battle symbols showing that the axe was actually used, and everything from where the handle starts to the tip of the axe is just amazing. You can rest the hand here, and this is where you'll see why it stays completely still. But now, you can move the axe a little more this way or that way. Here comes the bow as well. Remember that among all the items you have, there's the shield. You can have a one-handed sword, you can have a sword in both hands, or you can have a two-handed sword. Similarly, axes can be one-handed, two-handed, and even the shields can be really heavy ones. Where you couldn't move, the bow can also be upgraded, and here they didn't skip any details. Let's look at it this way. Check out the amazing detail in the movement of our bow. And there's a spot back here so you can mount it. In the same way, the piece is fully magnetized, and you can't have a bow without your supply of arrows. As you gain skills and experience points with your character, you can decide which skills you want to assign. There were some books of wisdom there, and there was this attack, let's call it a charged attack, where you'd throw the harpoon, pull the enemy in, and as they stumbled closer, you'd hit them with the axe. If they already had enough damage, it would end in a fatality, honestly. You'd knock your enemy down, finish them off, and against some final bosses or certain bosses you'd run into, honestly, those bosses that really give you a hard time, throwing the harpoon at them and immobilizing them for a moment was honestly a relief. It gave you a chance to heal up, recharge your energy, and figure out what strategy you were going to use against them. Now that we've fully assembled our piece, we're left with this little splash logo, let's call it, from our friends at Pure Arts, which tells us it goes right here. However, since there's nothing, no slot or anything, I've already tried it out and you just place it there, and it stays put. Check it out, they really thought of everything. It stays right there. There it is, our piece number 217 out of 2,500. But if you thought that was all for this unboxing, actually our friends left a little something hidden, like good magicians, a magic trick. Now, as they say, let there be light, and just check out the effect. That's why, when you have the piece, it lights up. That's what the battery slot I showed you at the beginning was for, and it fits perfectly on this side. If you didn't notice, the button is right here, underneath the bloodstains. It's hidden right here. That's the button that turns our sculpture on and off. Without further ado, I'll let you watch, admire, and enjoy Eivor in their Animus version, right here, as I mentioned, from Pure Art Studio. And don't forget to check out each and every one of our social media pages. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on TikTok, we're on Medium, we're on all the social networks. So make sure to check out each and every one of them. Hit the love button, give us a heart, like, share, turn on the notification bell, and subscribe so you don't miss any of our posts. And also remember to visit the Darkoburi.com website, where you can find absolutely amazing collectible items, as well as mugs, keychains, thermoses, stickers, Darkoburi collectibles, including the book by yours truly, Darkoburi, which is packed with tons and tons of tips about collecting. And now, that's it for this video. I really loved it, and as always, I say goodbye to all of you Darkoburi. Peace out.
Darkoburi. Darkoburi indeed. And LT. Break time equals 0.5s /and GT.